Elon Musk isn't just a tech genius. He's a disruptor, someone who has never shied away from challenging powerful figures and reshaping entire industries. Recently, Musk turned his attention to none other than Oprah Winfrey, sending shockwaves through media and social circles alike. Known for his direct and often controversial approach, Musk's latest statement about Oprah has everyone talking. He sees her as part of the old guard of media influence that he believes needs shaking up, and he's made it clear he's not holding back. But why did he single out Oprah? And what exactly did he say that left so many stunned? Part 1. Setting the stage. The power struggle between titans. In the world of big names and even bigger egos, it's hard to imagine two figures who stand further apart in influence and vision than Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey. They're both household names, but they built their influence in very different ways. On one side, we have Musk, the space cowboy, tech genius, and social media renegade. He's made his name by shooting rockets into the sky, digging tunnels beneath cities, and stirring up conversations and controversy with his views on how society should operate. Musk's approach is one of transparency, at least as he defines it, and he's never shied away from calling out what he sees as flaws in the status quo. Then, on the other side, there's Oprah, a media queen with the ability to turn anyone into a star, a brand or a best-selling author overnight. For decades, Oprah has been a comforting and powerful voice with a reach that can make or break careers. She's not just a media figure, she's a cultural icon. Her style is warm, inclusive, and sometimes even motherly, which is a far cry from Musk's sharp-edged, rebellious persona. So what happens when two titans like these lock horns? Well, it's bound to be intriguing, to say the least. Rumors are swirling that Musk recently made a statement, a threat. Some might say that was so shocking it left the media world reeling. But why would Elon Musk, with all his ventures in tech and space, suddenly turn his attention toward Oprah Winfrey? And what could he possibly have said that has everyone talking? To understand that, let's back up a bit and look at Musk's vision. Unlike many tech billionaires who tend to keep a relatively low profile, Musk is almost always in the spotlight, not just for his businesses, but for his personality and his unpredictable, often explosive social media presence. He's active on X, formerly Twitter, where he engages directly with his fans, critics, and even enemies. In recent years, Musk has been open about his frustration with what he calls the woke agenda in traditional media. He believes certain voices are being suppressed, and that a narrow, controlled narrative is being pushed, especially on issues like freedom of speech and social responsibility. Whether you agree with Musk or not, you have to admit that he doesn't shy away from sharing his views. And unlike many public figures, he doesn't use a PR team to filter his messages. When he wants to say something, he just says it, refreshing to some and reckless to others. His fans see him as a truth teller, someone who's not afraid to stick it to the man, while his critics think he's a loose cannon destabilizing the fabric of social media. It's this boldness, this willingness to challenge the establishment, that seems to have brought Musk into conflict with Oprah. For Musk, Oprah represents part of the media establishment, an influential figure who in his eyes might be using her power to shape public perception in ways he doesn't agree with. Musk has made it clear that he's no fan of what he calls the woke media, and it's not a stretch to think he might see Oprah as a figurehead in that world, a symbol of the very system he wants to shake up. In his view, traditional media is not only outdated but harmful. He sees it as a machine that can control minds, a place where only a select few voices are amplified, and where agendas are often hidden under the guise of information. It's a world Musk finds hypocritical and damaging, and he's made it his mission to tear down these old systems and replace them with something he considers more authentic and democratic. Now, Oprah's influence is not to be taken lightly. She has a reach that spans generations and demographics, and her voice is trusted. People look up to her for guidance on everything from health to relationships to politics. In a way, she's seen as a guardian of societal values, a curator of what's important and what's good. But Musk isn't interested in curating or gatekeeping. He's about unfiltered information, direct communication, and, yes, even a bit of chaos if that's what it takes to get people thinking independently. And that's where the clash comes in. Musk isn't just challenging Oprah. He's challenging what she stands for, a world where media personalities hold tremendous influence, guiding public opinion in a way he finds problematic. Musk's vision of the future is one where platforms like X give everyone a voice, not just those who have spent years building a brand or cultivating an image. For Musk, fame and influence should be earned through authenticity and contribution to meaningful conversations, not through carefully controlled messaging. So when Musk reportedly made this terrifying threat, it was more than just a statement aimed at Oprah personally. It was a message to everyone in the media world that the days of traditional gatekeeping are numbered, at least if he has anything to say about it. Musk's words sent shockwaves through the industry, not just because of what he said, but because of what it represents, a fundamental shift in who holds the power to influence public opinion. People were quick to react. Some applauded Musk for his courage, seeing him as a modern-day disruptor. They believe figures like Oprah have had too much control for too long, and that it's time for new voices like Musk's to shake things up. But others saw his statement as arrogant, even dangerous. They argue that Musk's approach is reckless, that his willingness to take on cultural icons like Oprah could lead to a destabilization of societal norms, a loss of trusted voices in a sea of unverified information. From Musk's perspective, however, this is exactly what's needed. He sees it as a kind of liberation, a chance for people to think for themselves rather than being spoon-fed narratives by a handful of powerful media personalities. He believes that by challenging these figures, he's doing society a favor, pushing people to question what they hear and to seek information from diverse sources. The fact that Musk is doing this on a platform he owns, X, adds another layer of complexity to the story. Musk has said that X will be a platform for free speech, but some have accused him of simply creating a space where his views can reign supreme. His detractors argue that he's not interested in free speech for everyone, but rather in amplifying his own voice and the voices of those who agree with him. But Musk would likely counter that he's merely leveling the playing field, giving people access to information without interference from media moguls and cultural icons, who he believes have too much control. This bold approach to social media has defined Musk's public persona in recent years. He's not just a billionaire with opinions, he's a billionaire with a mission. To him, X isn't just a platform, it's a weapon in the fight against what he sees as a manipulative media landscape. And while this approach has won him a loyal following, it's also made him some powerful enemies. Now, with his sights set on Oprah, Musk seems to be escalating this fight to new heights. By targeting such a well-loved and respected figure, he's making a bold statement about his commitment to dismantling what he views as a flawed system. Whether Oprah will respond, and how remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, Musk has made it clear that he's not afraid to go after anyone, no matter how influential or beloved they may be, if he believes they're contributing to the problem. So here we are, watching as two giants of influence, one in tech and one in media, seem poised for a showdown. For Musk, this isn't just a feud. It's part of a larger vision, a future where traditional media no longer has the final say on what's important or true. In his eyes, Oprah is just another symbol of an outdated system he's determined to upend. In a way, this conflict feels almost inevitable, a collision of two powerful forces, each representing a very different idea of what it means to have influence in today's world. At the end of the day, Musk's threat might be terrifying to some, but to others, it's a breath of fresh air, a sign that change is coming, and that the days of unchallenged media power are ending. Whether this is the start of a new era or just another Musk-fueled controversy, one thing's for sure, everyone's paying attention. Part 2. The terrifying threat unveiled, what Musk said and why it matters. As the story unfolds, it's impossible not to be drawn into the specifics of Musk's threat to Oprah. In classic Elon Musk fashion, it wasn't just a casual remark, but something that felt deliberate, calculated, and powerful enough to rattle even a media icon like Oprah. Musk has always known how to pick his words, and when he has a message to deliver, he makes sure it lands. But what exactly did he say? And why has it left such a strong impression on both the media and the public? Let's break down Musk's terrifying warning, understand what he meant by it, and look at why it's shaking things up. Imagine Musk, the billionaire, with a mission coming out with words so bold and pointed that they've left everyone on edge, wondering what's next in the world of media and tech influence. Others like her respond, and he's positioning himself as the new guard, a disruptor in a world where voices like Oprah's have held sway for decades. In his view, this power imbalance is part of the reason why society is stuck in cycles of misinformation and manipulation, and he's determined to put an end to it. Now here's where things get interesting. Elon Musk doesn't just talk about change, he enacts it. With control of X, formerly Twitter, Musk has a platform that lets him reach millions instantly, bypassing traditional media gatekeepers altogether. This platform gives him a unique edge in this battle with Oprah and her peers because he no longer needs to rely on media outlets to broadcast his views. Instead, he can take his message directly to the people, gaining support from those who feel similarly disillusioned with mainstream media. Musk knows that when he speaks on X, his words have the power to go viral, sparking discussions, debates, and even outrage. And in today's world, that's an incredibly powerful tool. The real shocker in all of this is the sheer boldness of Musk's approach. For most people, Going head-to-head with Oprah would seem daunting, if not downright foolish. She's an institution in her own right, with a reputation built over years of dedication, connection, and influence. But Musk is no ordinary person, and he seems unfazed by the risks. To him, challenging a media icon like Oprah isn't a danger, it's a necessity. He sees it as a way to send a message to everyone who still believes in the old guard of media. He's saying, in effect, that no one, not even Oprah, is beyond reproach and that it's time for a shift in who holds the power over information and influence. Let's consider what Musk's terrifying statement might actually mean in practical terms. He has hinted before at his intentions to use X as a platform for transparency, a place where ideas can be debated openly without interference. This aligns with his broader vision for a media landscape that's more democratic and less controlled by a few influential voices. Musk's criticism of Oprah isn't just about her personally, it's about what she represents, a media elite that, in his view, has become disconnected from ordinary people and too invested in pushing certain narratives. By going after Oprah, Musk isn't just targeting a person, he's challenging an entire system. For Musk's supporters, this is thrilling. They see him as a champion of free speech, someone willing to confront the untouchables of society and call out hypocrisy where he sees it. And with Musk at the helm of X, he has the platform and the influence to back up his words. This is part of what makes his threat feel so real. He's not just making noise, he has the means to disrupt. He has the reach, the resources, and the support of millions who feel disenfranchised by traditional media. Musk's control over X gives him a way to set the agenda, to shift conversations in ways that weren't possible for him or anyone else before. Of course, not everyone is thrilled by Musk's tactics. For his critics, this latest move is just another example of his arrogance and disregard for established norms. They argue that Musk's approach is reckless, that by taking on figures like Oprah, he risks alienating those who still value traditional media and the stability it provides. In their eyes, Musk's actions are less about transparency and more about consolidating his own power. After all, X is still a privately owned platform, and as much as Musk talks about freedom of speech, he's ultimately in control of what happens on it. To them, Musk's threat isn't just terrifying because of what he said, but because of what he could do with his influence. But Musk would likely argue that this is exactly the point. He believes that traditional media has failed to provide the transparency and accountability that people deserve, and he's made it his mission to fill that gap. For him, this isn't about winning a popularity contest, or even about boosting his own profile. It's about redefining how we consume information, who gets to control that information, and what it means to have influence in the modern world. By targeting Oprah, he's making a statement that no one, not even the most beloved cultural icons, is immune from criticism or challenge if they're part of a system he views as broken. This clash between Musk and Oprah feels like more than just a celebrity feud. It's a battle for the future of media itself. On one side, you have the traditional trusted figure, someone who represents the stability and familiarity of old-school media. On the other, you have Musk the disruptor, the visionary who's willing to throw caution to the wind if it means shaking up the status quo. It's a story that feels almost like a modern-day David and Goliath, with Musk casting himself as the underdog against the giant of traditional media. But in this case, David isn't some unknown figure. He's one of the richest, most influential people on the planet, and he has an army of supporters ready to rally behind his cause. This isn't the first time Musk has gone after a powerful figure or institution, but it might be the boldest. By choosing Oprah as his target, he's sending a clear message about where he stands on issues of influence and media control. And whether you agree with him or not, there's no denying that Musk has a knack for getting people's attention. His words might be divisive, but they're also provocative, forcing people to think about the power structures that shape our society and asking them to consider if those structures still serve us in the way they should. For Oprah, this is undoubtedly a challenging moment. She's faced criticism before, but this is different. Musk is coming at her from a place of technological power, with a following that is as passionate as it is vast. His reach on X is unmatched, and his ability to shape public opinion is something that few can rival. Oprah's response, if she chooses to make one, will be crucial in determining how this clash unfolds. Will she defend her role in traditional media, or will she ignore Musk's statements, hoping that the storm will pass? Either way, the world will be watching, and Musk's message will continue to echo. It's fascinating to see how Musk uses his platform not just to share his ideas, but to directly challenge those he feels stand in the way of progress. For Musk, this isn't about taking down Oprah, it's about inspiring people to question the status quo, to think critically about who they trust, and to realize that the power to shape the narrative no longer belongs exclusively to traditional media figures. Musk's vision for X is one where everyone has a voice, where the flow of information isn't dictated by a select few but is instead open, dynamic, and, most importantly, transparent. As we move forward, this confrontation between Musk and Oprah raises some big questions about the future of influence and media. Will Musk's vision of a more open, less controlled media landscape win out? Or will traditional figures like Oprah continue to hold sway over public opinion? This battle isn't just about two people, it's about two very different ideas of what the media should be and who should control it. And as Musk continues to push boundaries, it's clear that he won't stop until he's either succeeded or faced with a force that's equally determined to hold its ground. This story is far from over. In fact, it feels like we're only just getting started. Musk's threat to Oprah is more than just a momentary shock, it's a sign of a deeper shift. A signal that the old ways of managing influence and information are being challenged like never before. And as the lines are drawn and the players take their positions, we're left with one question: in a world where technology and social media are reshaping everything we know about influence, who will come out on top? Part 3. The fallout. What's next for Musk, Oprah, and the media landscape? As we dive into the aftermath of Musk's big statement, the dust hasn't settled, and it might not for a while. His threat to Oprah wasn't just a one-off shock. It was a spark, one that's igniting conversations about who should control the power of influence in a society so tightly woven with media. Now everyone is watching to see what will happen next. Will Oprah respond, or will she stay silent and hope that Musk's comments blow over? And more importantly, what will the broader impact be on the media landscape and public opinion? For Musk, this moment could be the start of something much bigger. By putting Oprah on the spot, he's opened the door for a new era of transparency and accountability, or at least, that's how he would frame it. He's always positioned himself as a force for change, someone who's not afraid to challenge outdated systems and bring in new ideas. Whether he's launching rockets, selling electric cars, or tweeting his opinions, Musk has a way of making waves wherever he goes. And with this latest move, it seems he's aiming for a total transformation in how media power works. So let's think about what this means for Oprah. For decades, she's been a symbol of trust and credibility. She's built her brand on being someone people can turn to for advice, empathy, and insights into the human experience. And let's be real, it's not easy to achieve that kind of reputation. Oprah has earned her influence the hard way, connecting with audiences and creating a media empire that, for many, feels almost sacred. But Musk has flipped the script, challenging the very foundation of what her brand stands for. What's interesting here is the ripple effect Musk's statement is likely to create, not just for Oprah, but for everyone in her sphere of influence. We're talking about a world where powerful voices shape public perception, where media figures like Oprah have the power to influence everything from the books people read to the politicians they support. And Musk is questioning whether that kind of concentrated power is really in the public's best interest. They're being spoofed a particular narrative, and his followers love him for it. To them, Musk is like a modern-day hero standing up to the establishment and giving the average person a voice. But Musk's critics are quick to point out that his approach isn't without its flaws. Sure, he talks a lot about freedom of speech and transparency, but he's also a billionaire with a lot of control over X. Some people argue that he's not really dismantling the power structure, he's just shifting it in his favor. After all, Musk owns the platform, and he can shape conversations in ways that align with his own beliefs. In a sense, he's becoming the gatekeeper of this new media landscape, deciding who gets to say what and how information flows. So here we are, caught in this strange, almost surreal standoff between two of the most influential figures of our time. On one hand, we have Oprah, the beloved media mogul who has spent her career building trust and shaping culture. On the other, we have Musk, the tech visionary determined to shake up that very culture and redefine what it means to have influence. And while their clash might seem personal, it's really a battle for the future of media itself. Imagine for a moment what it would mean if Musk's vision actually took hold. We'd see a world where traditional media icons like Oprah hold less sway, where influence isn't something that's cultivated over years but is instead open to anyone with a voice. It's a wild concept, but it's also incredibly appealing in a way. It's the kind of idea that makes you wonder if we've been putting too much trust in too few hands. Maybe Musk is onto something, even if his methods are a bit unorthodox. However, the reality is that change on this scale doesn't happen overnight. Even with Musk's massive platform and the attention his statement has drawn, traditional media isn't going to disappear. Figures like Oprah aren't going to lose their influence just because someone questioned it. They've built their empires on decades of credibility, trust, and connection with their audiences, and that's not something that can be easily shaken. What's likely to happen is that this clash will continue to ripple outward, affecting how people view media and who they choose to trust. Musk's comments have already sparked debates on social media, with people arguing about the role of traditional media and whether figures like Oprah still deserve the influence they wield. As these conversations continue, we might start to see a shift in how people consume information, a gradual move toward platforms and voices that offer more transparency and less curated content. But what about Oprah? Will she respond? So far, she's remained silent, at least publicly, and that might be the wisest choice. Oprah has always been careful about where and how she uses her voice. She's known for her thoughtful approach, and she might decide that engaging with Musk isn't worth the potential fallout. After all, a direct response could escalate things even further, drawing more attention to Musk's claims and giving him exactly the kind of publicity he thrives on. Alternatively, Oprah could decide to take a stand to defend her legacy and her role in the media. She could point out the years of work she's put into building a platform that empowers people, promotes positivity, and fosters growth. She could argue that Musk's vision, while appealing in theory, is overly simplistic and doesn't account for the nuances of media influence and responsibility. It would be a bold move, but Oprah has never been one to shy away from difficult conversations. In the end, the choice lies with her, and whatever she decides will set the tone for what happens next. If she chooses to stay silent, Musk's statement may eventually fade into the background, becoming just another one of his many controversies. But if she speaks out, we could be looking at a media showdown unlike anything we've seen before, a direct confrontation between old and new media, between the trusted voices of the past and the disruptive forces of the present. As for Musk, he's not likely to back down anytime soon. He thrives on disruption, on challenging norms and breaking boundaries. For him, this isn't just about Oprah. It's about redefining an entire industry. He's on a mission to create a world where influence isn't something that can be monopolized, where people aren't relying on a few select voices to guide them. He's willing to take on anyone who stands in the way of that vision, even if it means going after cultural icons. The implications of this clash go beyond just Musk and Oprah. This is about a fundamental shift in how we understand influence and credibility. In Musk's world, credibility isn't something that's built over years of trust. It's something that can be earned quickly and openly in the court of public opinion. It's a bold idea, but it's also one that challenges the very core of how society operates. If everyone has influence, does anyone truly have authority? And if credibility can be earned instantly, what happens to the value of long-term trust? This story between Musk and Oprah is still unfolding, and it's likely that we'll see more twists and turns in the days and weeks to come. But one thing is certain, this isn't just a battle of personalities, it's a battle of ideas. It's about what we want our media to be, who we want to trust, and how we want information to be shared in the future. As we watch this unfold, we're left with some important questions. Are we ready to let go of the media icons we've trusted for so long? Are we prepared for a world where influence is constantly shifting, where anyone can become a voice of authority? Or do we still need figures like Oprah, people who have spent years earning our trust, and who represent a certain stability in an ever-changing world? In the end, only time will tell. Musk's vision may prevail, or it may falter under the weight of its own ambition. Oprah may rise to the challenge, or she may choose to let it pass. But either way, this clash has already left its mark, forcing us to think about who holds the power to influence and what that power should look like in the future.